Hey, hi, hello, what's up? My name is Gladys and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do a book review and it's gonna be about this book right here. I actually read this, it's been a couple of months now and I've been meaning to make this video for a while, but you know, life is just happening again and again and again. You know what is really good that happened in my life? Let me show you. I got my very own everyday cloud bago in fit. Yes, oh my god, she's so gorgeous and she fits everything I need. I could fit a lot of books in this girl. I love her so much. Fig, oh my gosh, like Fig by Naomi Scott, which I'm going to her concert next week. But yeah, life's been happening, so I haven't really been able to be consistent as I'd like to be with my videos, but I'm just trying to also off the scenes accept that the turmoil that I'm going through and the growth that I'm going through off camera is just as needed as the camera, me in the camera and the videos. If that makes sense to anyone but myself. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. We're going to be talking about Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang. This is Ling Ling's second book, and then this is her first book. I haven't read it yet, but I mean, it's in the queue. I like the way that she does her cover art. You can tell both of these are Ling Ling Huang books. It's been a while since I've read this, and still I feel like this is kind of like a book that I will be thinking about for a while. Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang is a literary fiction book. I've started reading a lot more lit fic since maybe the last year and a half, 2 years-ish. Coming into myself as a queer person, I've diverted from only reading romance, straight romance, smut, to lit fics. And I actually quite like it. It wasn't really a conscious decision. I just went to the library one day and I was like, these books look cool. So the thing I like about lit fics, it's like it's kind of coming of age, but sometimes the growth isn't there. But it's just like, I like a nice story. What can I say? So I'm gonna read you guys the plot to this book. What if you could enter the mind of the person you love the most? Anka meets Mathilde in art school and is instantly drawn to her. Mathilde makes art that feels truly original, and Anka, trying hard to prove herself in this fiercely competitive world, pours everything into their friendship. But when Mathilde's fame and success cause her to begin to drift away, Anka becomes desperate to keep her close. Enter Scaffold. Purported to enhance empathy, this cutting-edge technology could allow Anka to inhabit Mathilde's mind and access her memories, artistic inspirations, and deep-seated trauma. Undergoing this procedure would link Anka and Mathilde forever, but at what cost? Blisteringly smart, thought-provoking, and shocking, Immaculate Conception offers us a portrait of close friendship, achingly tender and twisted, that captures the tenuous line between love and passion, which will haunt you longer after you turn the page. Preface, Stoned Book Review.
That was really hard to read.
This book is about Anka and Mathilde and their friendship, and honestly, it's about jealousy, it's about envy, it's about love, it's about hate, it's about power, it's about racism, it's about classism, it's about the art industry, it's about Britney Spears, it's about AI, like it's about so many things. I really want to mainly touch on more so the emotional side of things, more so Mathilde and Anka's relationship and the jealousy and the envy that can happen within not only female relationships but queer relationships. I feel like sometimes for a relationship to have queer undertones, they don't both have to be gay. That being said, the theory is jealousy is queer. Yeah, so basically this book is, it's a science fiction book. It's science fiction, but it is also in our day and age, so it's kind of like Black Mirror. I've never watched Black Mirror, but I'm sure it's like Black Mirror. One of the first things that we learn is Mathilde's father passed away in 9/11, and she makes this whole art piece about it, and that's basically the precedent for her art career. Like, that showcase that they did in freshman year of college literally started her whole career. So we're not too far off or too far away from the present day. They met at school. Everybody knew Mathilde as this girl that had a lot of talent. And I mean, Anka was Anka. Anka wasn't really notable. At some point, Anka sees Mathilde and she is looking really bad. She's like slumped over, like on the toilet, like she's not looking good. And Anka sees her and she's like, oh my god, girl, like, are you okay? Like, do you need any help? And Mathilde's like, mm-mm. She's like, no. She's like, just bow, just bow. Nina, Nina. So she's like, girl, go away. And Mathilde's like, damn, what the fuck? Yeah, it's a very significant moment. And then after that, they have these art studios at the school and they leave handprints on each other's window, on the door, like the door window. So that's happening, and then that's how their friendship begins, essentially. The summer leading to sophomore year, we learned that her mother killed herself after her father's passing due to her depression. Depression must run in the family, girl, because Anka had to take care of Mathilde while she was like severely depressed, and Mathilde started getting recognition for her art pieces, and Anka was basically the one that was trying to motivate her and like get her out of bed, and like she was literally her caretaker, but like she loved her, so she loved doing it. Also gay because like she was giving her baths. But anyways, so Mathilde started getting calls from a bunch of art publications that wanted to work with Mathilde, and Anka was dealing with her shit, and she was like, Diva, I think that you should take this opportunity. Like, you need to get up and out of bed, and you need to take a shower, and you need to eat, first of all. But I love you, and I think that this would be a great opportunity for you. Is that not giving girlfriend? Basically, after that, Mathilde's like, okay, girl, like, I'm up. She said 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, release him. She got up during the girl's second year of school. By this point, Mathilde has already, she started doing art installations in France and New York, and like she's already started her art career. So she's not coming back to school. Anka's still at school, and she's like, okay, well, this is where the science fiction part comes in the world that Ling Ling Huang has created for us. Basically AI's created, and it's for art, so you could like AI generate, save it, and then you have the rights to that art and you can make money off the art. A lot of people were dropping out of school because the art that they were making were already being made, and the school and themselves could have got into many lawsuits, so the college kind of fell off after that. At the same time, Mathilde is still big and she's booming, and she's doing these incredible art installations in New York. One of the most significant art installations that Mathilde creates in the book is she impregnates herself with her own DNA. So that happens because honestly, yes, I have ADHD, and I need to tell you there's context to this shit. There's context. I'm gonna tell you the story, but I'm gonna tell you like I'm giving you tea, okay? So this is like lesbian tea, like this is lesbian trait tea, like this is like a story my homegirl told me, okay? Yeah, so the whole school thing is happening, and basically Anka decides to quit doing art. You learn at the beginning she's really self-conscious, and of course coming from a poor place, she doesn't really have a lot of self-confidence. She's from the fringes, and she grew up with less than her classmates. There is a buffer on like things like Wi-Fi. So if you live in the fringes, which is basically the poorer areas, then you do not have like good connection at all. And she basically gets a scholarship to the school that the girls meet each other at. Anka's medium is technology, so she'd take like Xboxes together and like put them together and make like a fucking pacifier or some shit, okay? And her parents never really showed interest in her, it seemed like. The one thing that Anka seems to love the most that we learn is not only Mathilde, but her love for art and like her love for creating art and just being immersed in art and being an artist. Like that is all that she wants in life, is to be an artist. There's just like a huge value on being known and seen and recognized and acknowledged as an artist for her, which I just explained a million times, but you need to understand it, okay? Because she made me understand it. So after this happens, Anka decides to go back to Florida with her parents, and she's like, I'm gonna quit doing art. Like I can't do this anymore. Like I've reached my limit. This is the best that I'm ever gonna be. Like Mathilde is like already like up and she's doing great. If I was a real artist, I would be in Europe right now, is basically what she was giving. Now she's at home, she's being a bum, she's not going to school anymore. At the same time, Mathilde is still calling her, but also it seems like they're not as connected as they used to. She's watching Mathilde live the life that she wishes she had. She's really envious of her. She doesn't really reply to Mathilde's texts anymore because she's going through her own shit and she just doesn't want to, you know, have a reminder that she's a fucking failure, you know. So at this point, Anka is watching Mathilde's interviews religiously. So she watches an interview with Mathilde, and Mathilde talks about this program, talking about how she would like to work with Pathway Labs, and like somehow on that same day, Anka finesses her way into a project with Pathway Labs, and she finesses a ticket to Argentina with the creator. Pathway Labs turns out to be the one that created the scaffold that we learned in the plot. It's basically some new technology where you can put a chip in two people's brains. The receiver can go into the receptor's brain and absorb their trauma so that the receptor can heal more adequately. Back to Mathilde making an art installation out of the creation of her own baby. At the beginning of the book, Anka is at an art exhibit. She runs to the bathroom, she's crying, she looks at her phone, and on the news it says that it's possible that Mathilde is dead. Yeah, there's just this video that comes out of her and she's in the desert and her lips are cracked as fuck and she does not look good at all. Anka sees the video on a big screen and she's like, wait a minute, I know where the fuck she is. By this point in the story, she has a husband, she has kids, she got a family. She doesn't tell anyone. She drops everything there. Bus, plane, train, bike. So she gets to Mathilde and girl, it's spooky. She finds Mathilde in the middle of this maze of cacti. Mathilde is covered in flies. She's bleeding. Anka is also getting cut up by the cacti. She's also cut up and bleeding, and the mosquitoes are coming to eat her ass. Mathilde is not in a good state at all. Anka's like, Diva, I came as soon as I knew where you were. What is happening? You look in the corner and Mathilde's baby is dead and decomposing in the corner. That's not even the weird thing, that she brought her daughter's baby to a cacti maze and went there to off herself too. But the fact that she takes her baby's decomposed body, she starts playing with it like it's putty. And then she makes an incense candle out of it and lights her ass up. Basically, she gets her out of it, and because of that depressive episode, Anka kind of finesses it to the point where she has control over Mathilde's life. And now Mathilde has found herself under a conservatorship, which she signs herself into. Mentally, physically, she was getting a lot better. By this point, Enka and Mathilde are best friends again. She kept talking about in the book how she missed her best friend. Like, she just missed talking to her. Because of her jealousy and her envy all these years, they have not been the closest, and they actually do end up collaborating on this art installation. Enka's mother-in-law is the head of the conservatorship, so she asked Enka, she's like, girl, like, does it look like I'm about to kick her out now? Like, is she okay? Or like, does your girl still need some time? And Enka lies and she's like, she's not doing good. She's gonna kill herself. She told me the other day. They also do this test where they scan Mathilde's brain. Enka propositions it to Mathilde. He's like, yeah, Diva, we can help your girl. Like, we're gonna do a test, scan it. The results are gonna show if she does the scaffold, how her life's gonna be, and if she doesn't do the scaffold, how her life's gonna be. Like, basically, is she going to make money and make us art, or is she not? So Enka's jealousy towards Mathilde takes over in the sense that I also want to define jealousy. So jealousy is worrying that something or someone you love will be taken away from you. Envy is wanting what someone has. So Enka is jealous of Mathilde's creativity and her talent. It's really fucked up, but she loves her, but she's jealous of her in the sense that she fucks up the results, and she's scared that if she is healed, she will go back to art and her love and her relationship with Mathilde will be gone again. But in this way, she's living in her house. She has control over her best friend, over where she's going. She propositioned herself to be the receiver. She will now have access into Mathilde's brain and be able to access all of her memories, all of her mannerisms, her thoughts, her literally her whole psyche, her trauma. And Mathilde's not gonna know when she's doing this. But yeah, so it is really fucked in that sense. Like, you see how fucked up it is, and it only gets even more fucked up. Enka basically starts to embody Mathilde, and she accesses her brain while she's still in her body, and she's able to function as a regular person, and she chooses to do so instead of staying in her consciousness. And I feel like, again, like, that's just a look deeper into her insecurity and her self-hatred, and it does feel a bit queer because this book, again, like, I feel like it was a lot of self-reflection, because I'm not sure if I will ever be able to fully express what I'm trying to say, but a crush on a girl is completely different from a crush on a man. Because it feels like I'm just like reading into myself with literary fiction. I've gotten that comment where I was friends with this person and offhandedly someone said, I don't know, I feel like you wanted to be her. And I was like, I mean, I guess, yes, I did want to be her, but there's also part of me that wanted to be with her. But there's a lot of layers to it. And I think, I mean, definitely you're gonna have to read this book for yourself, but she definitely knows how to encapsulate that feeling, and it's never really explicit on their relationship being queer. Like, they don't really talk about queerness at all, but if you know where to look, it's clearly there are queer undertones. She literally has children and a husband and a whole family and a whole life to herself, and all she can think about is her best friend. And time again, you can see how her mind is always thinking about her best friend. I do really want to get into the emotional side of things and not so much the story. Long story short, after the whole scaffold thing, years and years pass and Mathilde has her own apartment and she's moved out. And there is some tension between the two of them because now Mathilde isn't really doing anything. She's not doing art because Anka is doing all the work for her. And Anka is realizing that there are consequences to not being yourself. Yeah, it's also just like really tragic because basically she ends up abandoning herself. People call her out on it and she needs to reflect and grow from her errors and take accountability for what she did. Anka is now at a seminar at a college and she's been getting these headaches. And at this point, for some reason, the chip has stopped working. And then she faints while she's at this school and she goes to Mathilde's apartment, which she hasn't been to ever. And Mathilde is like basically damn near dead. Like the place where her chip was, it literally melted her brain and she needs around the clock care for the rest of her life. Anka sees this and she's like, oh my god, like this is crazy. And she's feeling like really weird about the chip. She goes to the doctor that created the chip and he's like, it seems like the receptor is still working. And she's like, I've never tried to access her brain again because I didn't think that it was possible. And at this point she's scared because she had this whole argument or she believed that the chip had stopped working. After the doctor tells her that she's able to access Mathilde's mind again, she's kind of scared to go back in, but eventually she goes back in and she sees that her friend has been waiting for her for years. And she's like, girl, I've been trying to get to you for years. And basically just talks to her and tells her how she's been going through her brain and seeing how she sees everything. Which I think was like really interesting to be able to see her perspective as well. They meet in their shared subconscious. Everyone is jealous, but they find a way through it. Not you. You nursed your envy. You used it to punish yourself. I saw how that toxicity bled into our relationship and made it one of comparison. And because you placed me so high, you can necessarily only be low and constantly wanting, desperate enough to betray me again and again. You had every opportunity, Anka, so many chances to tell the truth, to make a different decision, one that didn't end with me in a chair, unable to speak. And Anka's trying to tell her that it's a chance for them to be equals, that it was a chance for her to catch up to her, and Mathilde's like, girl, we are equals. Please stop putting me on a pedestal. And Mathilde starts crying and she starts giving in to her self-hatred and she's like, I'm so unbelievably sorry. I hate myself for what I've done to you. And Mathilde's like, girl, get up. Like, this isn't helping either of us. And then here, I don't think you can make any of it right. Your erasure of me has been too complete. Do you know what the saddest thing is about all of this? I shake my head, even though she knows that I don't know. I loved you so much, Anka, and I love you still. So my camera died. I wanted to actually talk more about the jealousy and the envy. It's a really complicated emotion and there are so many layers to it, and I feel like it was really important for me to read this book because it was actually affecting me in real time, or something I'd been going through for the past couple of years. Honestly, it's my jealousy is like a lifelong thing. I do feel like I can empathize with Anka even though she is terrible. I feel like there's so much discourse about jealousy and jealousy being so negative and people claiming that they are not jealous or envious people when you're literally a human and it happens to everyone. And once you realize that that is okay, it's okay to feel emotion. I think what actually matters is how you decide to treat the people that you are jealous towards. I'm not going to say that if you express your jealousy in a negative way towards someone that you suck, it's just gonna happen. I think that's what I'm enjoying the most about reading recently, is just learning a lot more about myself through other people, and just learning how or who other people are. I do kind of feel like I have been in relationships or like friendships with people, relationship with girls. It becomes really codependent to the point where people don't see us apart. If one of us is somewhere, they're always asking like, where's the other half? And I feel like at some point I've noticed I do get really tired of that, and I have a really strong sense of independence, I'm realizing. Although I do also have a strong will to merge with people. And since when were you in my closet? I love being intimate and extremely vulnerable because I truly think that emotion is one of the universe's greatest gift to us. Hello, hello. So a couple of things that I've been thinking about. Generally, how I relate to this. How am I jealous? There are undertones in my female relationships that I've had crushes on. Jealous of their boyfriends because they've taken them away from me. And the fact that they exist is a threat to me because my relationship with these girls felt very personal, very intimate, somewhat codependent. And it does suck when these dynamics are over with because you can never get that same sweet tenderness anymore. Something needs to be addressed internally, so jealousy makes us all act selfishly, trying to preserve love, the only love that we know. Anka is jealous of Mathilde and her career because it's taking her away from their relationship. Ensues the codependency, but it's also like, I think Anka forgot that when she is in Anka's subconscious, that she's not doing things together with Mathilde. She is just like stealing her life. And then this is how am I envious. Ashamed of where I'm from, my culture, growing up in a PWI, being creative, but my parents not being actively supportive or present. Seeing friends with loving families and more money definitely caused and still does cause friction. Envying how quickly someone has found love when you still are messy and in the midst of putting yourself back together. Envious of opportunities, of natural skill. Envious from afar, there is always a piece of the puzzle left to discover. I'm talking about my own experience as well as Anka's experience, because even though she is granted, like, she should have never gotten access to her mind, but she allowed her friend to go into her brain because she trusted her. Yeah, I feel like envy is always from a distance, in the sense that there's always information that you're missing. For example, in the book, Anka goes from like a girl from the fringes to the public. It seems like she's this confident businesswoman, artist, the wife of a billionaire. In reality, she built her way up, but she learns that having everything that she wanted, having all the recognition and all the money, isn't worth anything if she doesn't have her best friend with her. Which, you know, it did take her a while to learn that lesson, but she finally came to, which is sweet. I wrote a couple of things about the themes as well. Of course, this book is about friendship, connection, always showing up, supporting, seeing someone for who they are and who they show you that they are. You can be a bad friend sometimes. Friendship is a two-way street. You actually need to choose to show up time and time again because of love. I feel like this also goes with control in friendship, and I guess just relationships. Withholding your emotions instead of expressing them towards someone is like holding on to power in the relationship. Ask for help and be vulnerable. Doing so gives them power, vice versa. To have a healthy relationship, you need to be willing to exchange the power. And for a lot of people, that is very hard. And I wrote, some people will never get to that point of being able to fully be vulnerable and consistently so. Then I also have a bigger message that I learned from reading. When harm is done and acknowledged, it can be hard to come back from it. Sometimes a friendship ends becoming but a memory. The love will always be there. It will always be in you. Or you can make an active choice to right your wrongs, accept yourself, accept an apology, and also apologize, but still it's a two-way street. Trust is to be repaired and earned. I just like the topic of ex-best friends. Like it's still, the wound is healing, but the wound is still there. Yeah, I guess love is also a theme. So despite what you believe, jealousy and envy can exist at the same time that love does. Love is communication, recognition, understanding, respect, care, affection, commitment, and trust. And still, love is not perfect. How can you love others but not yourself? That also really got to me while I was reading this. And just like going through what I was going through. But the thought was always like, how can I be so jealous and so envious of someone that I love so much? Like, I thought that I loved this person so much and do care for this person. There's always shame related to jealousy and envy. So, of course, it's not one of those things that people talk about or are willing to talk about. So it just festers and you just let it fester inside of you, or you choose to recognize it and work with it and try to listen to where it's coming from. Because at the end of the day, like, whatever you're feeling, it's a part of you that wants to be heard. So why not listen to it? Is my thing. But yeah, the end of the book, I like to think that they ended off pretty nicely with Enka and Mathilde. The ending is like kind of rough, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, again, it was just like the thought of Mathilde and Enka coming into one consciousness, and Mathilde still speaking to her friend and like trying to communicate with her friend and still try to work things out, even though Enka literally left her friend incapacitated and unable to speak because of her inner turmoil. The fact that at the end of the day she still loves Enka despite everything. Enka really needed to hear that, because I don't think before that point that she really understood what love was. And I mean, sometimes people just come into your life and that's the lesson that you need to be taught, that you are loved and you're lovable and you're capable of loving and you're capable of care and you're capable of consideration. But yeah, I guess I never really thought that love and jealousy and envy could coincide together, but it can and it does, because love, jealousy, envy, grace, pain, trauma, everything, it's all inside of me. And thank you, Lin Ling Huang. Let me see if I have any like final things to close it off with. I might have some quotes. So this is after Enka and Mathilde meet in their subconscious and they have that really emotional moment, and Mathilde's like, girl, like, you literally left me for dead, the fuck, but I still love you. My self-flagellation of performance for her. But now that I know nothing is hidden from Mathilde, it becomes impossible to keep any self-deceptions in place. The performance becomes real. Being seen forces me to see myself, and I break under the weight of my gaze. The depravity of what I've done sinks in more every day until I have no choice but to accept myself as the monster I am. And if she knows the worst of me, she must also know the best. She must know with certainty the love I've always had for her. Whether or not she meant it to be, her presence becomes guidance and shows me the only way forward. And then, oh my god, yeah, after reading that, I had the thought, I was wondering, because at some point, Mathilde doesn't get her headaches anymore. By the end of the book, she's not happy, but she's peaceful. And I wonder if Mathilde was trying to relieve her of her own trauma. So this is after she exposes herself to the world, and she's like, yeah, I lied and I disrespected Mathilde and like all this. The world would never see her ability to keep reinventing herself. Separate from the art that is absent, I deeply miss the person, the friend I could never know for certain, that dynamic and dangerous mind I have always admired, envied, even feared. I had believed a lie I told myself, which was that I have always been my best, my most fulfilled when I was envious. Really, it was love that has always made me my best. It has been my love for her that has most fulfilled, most fed me. If jealousy was like a well, I never reached the bottom. Hadn't realized the well was a tunnel to the mother of envy, which is awe. All in all, gay, artsy, jealousy, messy, and very thoughtful. Diva. Obviously, she needs attention, and I need to go give that to her. Girl, you know what you need? You actually need to get your nails cut. You need to get your nails cut. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in